Hey friends, welcome back to the cabin. Well, today I'm going to share with you a biscuit recipe that you would be proud to serve with your Thanksgiving dinner. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about some of the ingredients that we use in this recipe. If I can get organic flour, that's my preference, but it's hard to find around here sometimes. Now I do order it from time to time from Bob's Red Mill. That's one of my favorite sites to order from, but if I need to source it here, if I need to buy it here, it's very hard to find just organic flour. Now what I do a lot is I actually use the King Arthur, it's a non-GMO flour, and that's pretty close. That is also unbleached. That's another thing as far as bleached flours go, and you'll see that in all of my recipes I use all-purpose. I don't even own a bag of self-rising. I'm very traditional. Our great-grandmothers and great-great-grandmothers didn't have self-rising flour. They mixed their own ingredients, and I prefer to do that because I know what's going in there. Also, we have chickens, so our eggs are fresh, and they also have a very clean diet. And you know Lily, my sweet little Jersey milk cow, we source our milk straight from the barn, so it's about as fresh as it can get. We do drink our milk raw. I will have some videos on home dairy and some more detailed videos on our cow milking practices in the future, so be sure to subscribe so that you don't miss out on any of those. Hit that notification bell so you can be sure to know when new videos come up, and you don't want to miss out on those. Those are going to be great. And so I try to source as many things as I can, as pure as I can. If I can't do purely organic, then I do try to do non-GMO. So with all of that said, I'll get the camera turned around and get you situated down there where you can see, and we'll get started making those wonderful biscuits. Okay, to get the recipe started, I place 2 cups of that wonderful all-purpose unbleached King Arthur flour in my grandmother's bowl. And next, we're going to add 4 teaspoons of baking powder, a half a teaspoon of salt, and a half a teaspoon of cream of tartar. Cream of tartar is a byproduct of wine making. It is actually left on the insides of the wine barrels after the wine is finished fermenting. When it is mixed with baking soda, which there's baking soda in baking powder, it creates carbon dioxide gas, which is the same gas that's created with yeast. So you can see that we're already on a good start to making this biscuit really light and fluffy. Okay, so we're going to blend those dry ingredients really well. Next, we're going to put in 2/3 of a cup of lard, and we're going to cut that in. Your biscuit dough, you don't want to overwork it, but it is perfectly fine at this point, before we add moisture to it, to do what needs to be done. You're not going to overwork it now. But once you add the moisture to it, you want to be sparing with your dough. You don't want to overwork it. There we go. That's very crumbly. That's exactly what we want right there. Okay, so now that we have our lard cut in very, very well, I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of raw organic sugar. And we're just going to toss that, blend well, and then to that, we're going to add 2/3 cup of Lily's milk that has 1 large egg beaten well. Now that we've added our moisture to our flour mix, now's the time that you want to blend gently. And I'm just folding. I'm going to fold and fold. And I'm trying to moisten the flour, but I'm not going to overwork it. When your flour is correctly proportioned in your biscuit dough with your liquid, your dough will mix, and you will begin to see that it's going to pull away from the walls of your bowl and be clean. There's a little bit, but there's not a lot of over sticky dough left. Okay, so that's where we're at now. So I'm not going to stir this or handle this anymore. We're going to put it out on my flour tea towel, and we're going to roll it out. Actually, I'm not going to roll it out. I'm actually going to just pat it out, and we're going to cut it and get it in the skillet. Okay, now we're going to turn out our dough onto my tea towel that's got some flour sprinkled on it. And it should roll out really nice in a ball. Now, we're going to knead this 10 times, no more, because we don't want to overhandle, just like with the pie crust that I previously did. I talk about what makes dough tough. And so one thing we don't want to do is to overhandle. But now we're going to knead this 10 times. So let me kind of get it rolled around with a little bit of flour. And also, when you're doing this, you don't want to incorporate a lot of extra flour in there from the tea towel. My tea towel wants to scoot around. 8, 9, and 10. Okay, so I'm going to kind of roll it in a ball. And I'm not going to roll it out. I'm going to pat it out. And I'm just going to pat it away from the center. Okay, this is about the thickness that I want. So the next step is to cut them out and put them in that iron skillet, and I'll be right back. So in my preheated 450-degree oven, I placed my iron skillet with 3 tablespoons of butter, and I melted that. And now, so I've got it here, and I'm going to cut these biscuits, and we're going to get them in the skillet. Now, what my grandmother used to do was she would lay her biscuit upside down first and then flop it over right side up, and that way it was coated on both sides. Now, we will work this dough just a little bit, just enough to get it in a ball, and cut out a few more biscuits. We don't want to overdo it. Because we don't want to toughen it, so. Get a little flour on my hands. Funny story, when one of my sons was little, I always had the last of the dough was always an ugly biscuit. And he always thought that I made that special for him, because I'd always give it to him because he was the smallest, the youngest, you know, at the time, and he always thought that I did that especially for him. He didn't know that I was just mashing together the dough to make to use up the biscuit dough to make just another biscuit. And sometimes they came out really, really ugly. You can kind of crowd these. They're gonna rise and really fill up the skillet. But anyway, so one day, it wasn't that long ago, he said to me, he said, "Mama, I thought you made those especially for me." And I said, "No, well, they were." But I said, "Actually, honey, I was just using up the dough that I had left, and a lot of times you were little, and a lot of times it was just a little small amount of dough left over, and it was perfect size for him." But it just made my heart smile because he thought that I made that extra effort to make the ugly biscuit especially for him. So, okay, we're going to get these in the oven. They're going to cook from 10 to 15 minutes, so they cook up really quick. So I'll be right back with you, and I'll show you these beauties when I get back. What a beautiful, light, delicate biscuit. One that you'll be proud to serve at your Thanksgiving table this year. Earlier in the video, I discussed some of the ingredients that I like to have in my pantry. One of the things that I'm striving for is to have nutrient-dense foods for my family. If you want to learn more about nutrient-dense foods and traditional cooking, I encourage you to go visit Mary's Nest. Mary has a wonderful passion for teaching nutrient-dense foods and traditional cooking, and I really encourage you to go visit her, and I promise you'll learn a lot of things there. Another thing that I did want to bring up is this is Thanksgiving season. God has blessed me more than I deserve, and for that I'm truly thankful. I'm going to be posting a lot more videos in the very near future, so don't forget to subscribe, hit that notification bell, and give me a thumbs up. And you know what? It would really bless me if you would share this with your friends on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Thank you for stopping by my cabin, and God bless.